Dibba-dip-dip-dibba-dibba-doo. Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's coolest music nerd. Time for an album review. These guys are a Texas band. This is their third LP, and on this album they're feeling like a fresh new group. But I will start off this review by saying that this may be their last album. And this album was recorded almost 2 years ago. It's just being released this year, that's all. This band's older albums, most people have labeled as indie rock. I would agree with that, and I think this LP kind of fits into that same category, but the mood and the personality are kind of different on this, I think. The previous two records, I think, were kind of upbeat and kind of lively, a lot of shouting in the vocals, but this thing is very listless, kind of depressing. Bit of a slacker attitude. This album feels really kind of tired of the monotony of life. Or maybe it's just beat down from laying in the Texas sun all day. In the lyrics and the vocals, this LP just has this really cynical attitude toward life and everything it has to offer. And is just loaded with punchlines that make me laugh, but then right after I kind of let out a depressing sigh. And the reason this is a mood-changing album to me, the reason I think the personality of this album changed, is because the frontman, Andrew Savage's personality, kind of altered for this record. And what changed about Savage's delivery as a frontman is he's singing in a lower register. His lyrics, I think, are a little bit darker. Something that you might have picked up on an LP that he was on, that I reviewed earlier this year, Ferguson Geronimo's Unlearn. And that LP definitely has a huge emphasis on satire and being funny and just making some interesting observations. This concentrates more on being a damn rock album. I don't want to call it a throwback, but it definitely reminds me of when indie rock had a messier edge to it, combined with catchy songs. It got me thinking of how good bands like Pavement and Built to Spill and Sebadoh used to be. Because while these guys do have some good hooks, they write some pretty noisy and abrasive songs for the most part. I mean, there's all this amp feedback on some of these tracks, wailing guitar solos that can get pretty dissonant and don't care what direction they're going in, kind of like you're just swinging a hammer around in a china shop with your hand over your eyes. But there is some sweetness here too. I think songs like No Fragments and 1000 might actually get away with being played in a country bar if they had a different singer. Landlocked State has these really cute, awesome background vocals bouncing off of the lead vocals, and Kachina Doll has this really nice, pretty, and glistening acoustic guitar solo over the bridge. I also love the recording on this thing, the mix. It's really thick, it's really loud. They're an indie band, but they got that punk band volume, and they reach that aggression too on a track like Zealous Convert, where they're making a lyrical jab at religion and playing at a faster speed. And while we're sort of mentioning the lyrics are another thing that kind of make this album pretty moody for me. References to atheism and shoplifting and friends who you haven't seen in a long time and karaoke and rebellious bands becoming trends. This album feels like to me a good friend of mine who you could just hang out with and just shit talk with for hours, you know, just like be nasty with, but you know, you don't want to be around them all the time or else, you know, you might kind of lose your positive outlook on life, if you have one. Another kind of issue I have with this LP is that I don't feel like there's anything really new here musically. I feel like there's a really good recording on this LP, and there are some good hooks, but personality is kind of what comes down to making this record appealing to me. Kind of like that Ferguson Geronimo record that I mentioned, and also the Andrew Jackson Jihad LP I reviewed recently. This LP is a different sound for teenage cool kids, yeah, but is it different in general? No. But still, I like the personality here. It's amusing and depressing kind of at the same time. I like the fact that this LP can rock its ass off and then kind of turn around and do something odd and do something creepy, like the song Beg to Differ. I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on this thing. It was a fun listen. Kind of feeling like maybe I kind of have a crush on this thing. Huh? But what do you think about this? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Why? And what do you think I should review next? Anthony Fantano, Teenage Cool Kids, forever.